Hi guys, this is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics, and in today's video, I'd like to speak with you about domestic production and why it benefits trucking. But first, roll the intro. Welcome back. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please like the video, be sure you subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single release of our videos. Where every Friday, we're talking about something that could benefit you in your trucking businesses, in your trucking careers, as well as cover the loads we've successfully booked for our customers, consisting of leased and owner operators and carriers operating under their own MC authorities, running under our truck dispatch services. As always, guys, big thank you for all the likes you provided on the previous videos. Please do keep on coming, and let's talk about trucking and domestic production, why one benefits the other. Now, guys, this has been a topic of tariffs and domestic production and domestic manufacturing, whatever keywords you want to use. This has been an ongoing topic and an ongoing piece of discussion for the last several years, and now more than ever, with Trump coming back in and taking a presidential seat, everyone's talking about this with all the promises of tariffs to come. People on both sides of the aisle, some are pro, some are against it. Now, the issue is complex, just as is the complexity of our supply chain. But I promise you, everything that we got going on right now, in time, over time, will create more supply and more volume for truckers, thus benefiting the trucking industry. But again, let's jump in. We have a very complex supply chain, but the complexity of that supply chain is what actually drives the freight volumes that we all desperately need in order to get back to the dollar amounts per mile that we need in order to be able to operate, break even, at least stay in the black. Now, what we're talking about today is raw materials, right? Raw materials is where it comes down to. When you have a product that's just shipped in, it's fully assembled, take a truckload, take it to distribution center, retailer, whatever. When you're doing things domestically, and again, we've talked about this years ago and over the last few years, and we haven't really seen that domestic production really ramp up. It's just been talk, and more talk. But when you're dealing with domestic production, raw materials are coming from across the entire country, coming together, being assembled, being shipped all across the country before they actually hit your retailers and get into the consumer's hands. For example, say you're trying to put together a washing machine or something like that. You got to get these raw materials, the steel, the metals. Say they go from Pittsburgh, from a mill, go to a stamping plant somewhere in Chicago, something like that. And then you got plastics that you're going to have to wiring, things like that. Plastics, electronics. Those are generally going to be your Texas, your California. They're going to go to assembly from there to Ohio. So they're just crisscrossing the country. And the finished product that's ready for distribution centers and retail locations nationwide, it would take so many different steps, so many truckloads, so many different points that would have to be touched before that product would hit the shelves. Does that make the product more expensive? Yes, but that's your domestic manufacturing. We have a lot of products that we produce here that are just a lot more expensive than some of the other stuff that's coming in from overseas. But that doesn't mean that the quality will have to remain low. We can certainly get better at what we produce. And in many cases, we already produce much better products than some of the companies that are overseas. It's just we have to bring it back here so that American companies will actually produce in America and make it feasible and worthwhile for them as well as the consumer. Once they get that dialed in, lots and lots of truckloads of freight, guys. Now, there's another part of this. So you have your domestic production, which basically equals multiple trucking trips versus imported goods, which is basically, one truckload to the destination, right? Just pick it up from the ports, bring it over, break it all up. Now, in the US, and this was an issue during COVID, during the peak of COVID, this was all the talk at the time, was the JIT system. You guys remember just in time, the JIT model, which ultimately works really well for the trucking industry because it creates frequent deliveries. It creates this steady flow of work that basically creates the volume work that's necessary. So we're big fans of that. And that's also the system that also failed when people had a run on all the products. So that's why we had the empty shelves and things like that. But that's also the reason why rates went up through the roof. And, those were the good old years of making money during the pandemic. But ultimately, it's going to give frequent deliveries and steady workflow and improve trucking for everyone. Now, finally, we're going to get to what's called geographic dispersion. So it's a big country. It's split up all over the place. When we're talking U.S. manufacturing, most of that's going to be happening in the Midwest, in the South, maybe a bit in the Southeast, but certainly not coastal, certainly far from ports. So now you got all kinds of stuff that's having to move around for domestic production, for domestic manufacturing. And ultimately, domestic manufacturing will only boost freight demand. It will only increase volume. It will only improve improve things for the trucking industry, for truckers, for carriers, for owner-operators, for even company drivers. As carriers make more money, they're able to pay company drivers more as well per mile. So ultimately, guys, tariffs will have a lot to do with all of this. And like I've said before in the previous videos over the past several weeks and months, it's going to hurt a lot at the beginning, but it's one of those things where the next day, the next month, the next year is going to hurt a whole lot less. And the benefits are going to kick in. It's just going to be really rough at the beginning. So take advantage of what we got going on in the markets right now. You'll see the numbers, fantastic. Previous weeks, very, very good. We're closing out the year very, very strongly. I highly suggest that if you're not making a kind of money we're going to talk about in the second portion of this video, be sure to get in touch with us and start 2025 on a high note. Guys, if you haven't done so, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll switch over the camera. We'll look over the loads that we booked for our customers, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of these loads. Guys, a really good mix, very impressive numbers. Van, reefers, flatbeds, you name it, we got it. Let's get started. Looks like Damien is going to be the first one. It's actually a carrier. This is a driver. He was a longtime customer, and his first week coming back. An excellent job coming out of Visalia, California, going to Bendurant, Iowa. It's a 35,000 pound load. It's a dry van pulling a load of food products. 1,791 loaded miles, booked at $5,000. Got him $279 a loaded mile. An excellent job. Then Boone, Iowa, coming out to Suffolk, Virginia. It's a 43K load of seeds. 1,212 loaded miles, booked at $3,000. Got him $248 a loaded mile. Finished off strong out of Richmond, VA, Virginia, coming out to Parkersburg, West Virginia. A short, quick run here. 42K on plastic insulation materials. 341 loaded miles, booked at $1,000. Got him $293 a loaded mile on that one. So an excellent job. Friday to Friday, 7 days on the road, $9,000 in gross. 3,344 loaded miles. Got that booked at $269 a loaded mile. Now, they did have 127 miles a deadhead, which brought down his average down to $259. So very, very impressive. Drops the average by just 10 cents. An excellent week. An excellent, gross amount. Average rate per mile is fantastic. So welcome back, guys. Definitely very happy to have you. Switching gears to another drive. And Tariq is the driver. Has been with us for a good amount of time and always on a list and always very, very impressive. Aurora, Colorado, going to Billings, Montana, dry van, a very light load, 12,000 pounds of domestic appliances, 553 loaded miles, booked at $1,350, got him $244 loaded mile. Then Bozeman, Montana, coming out to McKay, Idaho. It's a 40,000 pound load of Costco containers. They're corrugated boxes. These are clean. 310 miles, booked at $950, got him $306 a loaded mile. Then looks like Twin Falls, Idaho to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, long run. 42.5 on a load, grocery products, 2,201 loaded mile, booked at $5,600. Very impressive, $254 a loaded mile. An excellent job. Monday to Saturday. Now, Tariq, only you could pull this off. 5 days of running on the road. Monday to Saturday, ended up grossing $7,900 in his regular dry van. $258 a loaded mile, running 3,064 loaded miles. Now, he did have 280 deadhead miles on top of all that he managed to run, and that dropped him down to 236 a loaded mile. So from 258 to 236, very, very impressive in a short amount of time. An excellent job with some lighter freight here and there. So an excellent job, sir. Moving on to Milagres, one of our veterans here, pulling his reefer coming out of Whittier, California, with 2 drops in Austin, Texas, and Katy, Texas. It's a 40,000 pound load of food ingredients. 1,502 loaded miles, booked at 4,000 bucks even, got him 266 a loaded mile. And next one was Deer Park, Texas, coming out to Amarillo, Texas. 25,000 pound load of dry goods. Protect from freeze was on there. So it looks like probably Reefer was on there. It might be dry goods, but Protect from freeze. 617 loaded miles at 11.25. Get you $1.82. Not bad. Moving around throughout the market, getting them a better market area. Then Italoo, Texas. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce this. All the way to Colton, California. It's a 40,000 pound load of something. The guys forgot to fill in the sheets, but it's 1,062 loaded miles to California. 1,900 bucks gets you $1.79 a loaded mile. And then Riverside, California to Gilroy, California was what they ran. 41.5 on a load. Food products, -10 on the temperature. 361 loaded miles booked at. Let's see if I have that text. I don't. So that one, 41.5, $1,500 booked for 361 miles. Got them $4.16 a mile. Absolutely excellent job. And Milagros ran for 6 days, Saturday to Friday. Ended up grossing a very impressive 6 days, guys. $8,525 in gross in just 6 days. Ran 3,542 loaded miles. Got that at 241 a loaded mile. The 171 deadhead miles he ended up putting on, dropped them down to 230 a loaded mile. So absolutely excellent 6 days. Deadhead, everything's in place. Nothing super crazy heavy. Pretty average and absolutely not average numbers. Excellent job. Moving on to Flatbed. Monty is the driver. Got one pick and a bunch of drops. One pick, 6 dropper coming out of Palo Verde, Arizona, going to all over the place. Drops in Hurricane, Utah, Bluffdale, Utah, Airway Heights, Washington. Looks like Sheelan, Washington, Bonnie Lake, Washington, and a final in Orchards, Washington. So going all the way west over there. It's 20,000 pound load of concrete products. So that's kind of nice. You know, it was getting lighter and lighter. Light for a flatbed to begin with, only 20,000 pounds. And it's 2,097 loaded miles, booked at 5,000 bucks, got him 238 a loaded mile. An excellent job. Then right out of Tacoma, Washington, took a load to Caldwell, Idaho. It's a 47,000 pound load of building products. 4-foot tarps were required on this one. 482 loaded miles, booked at 1,800 bucks, got him 373 a loaded mile there. So it took a week, grossed 7,800 bucks, Thursday to Thursday, 2,579 loaded miles, got him down to 264 a loaded mile with deadhead included. Which was 136 deadhead miles, got him down to even 250 a loaded mile. An excellent job, plus a ton of miles with a very light load that only got lighter and lighter. So an excellent job, and I think you'll do very well in Idaho starting out the week. So excellent job, Monty. Let's take a look. Next, we got Ronald pulling a Reefer. Telling you guys, we had some a good mix of different equipment types. This one looks like one pick, 2 dropper to picking up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Ronald's the driver. Doing drops in Cleveland, Ohio, and a final in Dubois, Pennsylvania. It's an 18,000 pound load of General Mills, freight of all kinds. Protect from freeze on this one. 18,000 pound light load, 439 loaded miles, booked at 2,000 bucks, got him 456 a loaded mile. Then Warren, Pennsylvania to Chicago, Illinois, 38,000 pound load of food products. Again, for another load from Protect from freeze, 507 loaded miles, booked at 900 bucks, got him $1.78, got to get him out of there into an excellent market. Because then next load, Lemont, Illinois to Aberdeen, South Dakota. It's a 43,000 pound load of packaged lubricants. 705 loaded miles, booked at 1,700 bucks, got him 241 a loaded mile. Then Grand Forks, North Dakota to Fort Worth, Texas, a 42,000 pound load of frozen foods, sitting at -10 on a Reefer, 1,149 loaded miles, booked at $3,200, got him 279 a loaded mile. An excellent job. That was it. Ronald ran week, Monday to Monday, grossed $7,800, so more than $1,100 a day, ran 2,800 miles loaded on the dot. Got 342 deadhead miles. So without deadhead, got 279 a loaded mile. With deadhead, got 248 a loaded mile. So an excellent job nonetheless. Fantastic, job on the dispatchers, and definitely a very good job on Ronald as well. Now, last but not least, another dry van. Mike is the driver. Everyone did a great job this week. Dry van, Nampa, Idaho, going to Tukwila, Washington. 43.5 on a weight of extra fine sugar. 498 loaded miles at 11.20. Got you 2 1/4, 225 a loaded mile. Then DuPont, Washington to Boise, Idaho. It's a 39,000 pound load of consumer paper products. 523 loaded miles. Booked at 1,100 bucks, got him 210 a loaded mile. Then Twin Falls, Idaho to Lewisburg, Tennessee. It's a 45,000 pound load of paper, 1,861 loaded miles, booked at $4,000. Got them $215 a loaded mile. Very impressive. Then Springfield, Tennessee to Tobiana, Pennsylvania. 21.5 load of home appliances, quite light, 845 loaded miles at $1,800. Got them $213 a loaded mile. Then that was it, guys. 7 days on the road. Mike ran Sunday to Sunday. 7 days on the road, $8,020 in gross. Regular dry van, 3,727 loaded miles. Booked at a $215 a loaded mile with 250 miles a deadhead. That dropped them down to $202 a loaded mile. So everybody was above $2. Excellent job. Excellent gross. Excellent amounts. Everybody across the board. Way to go, guys. Way to go. Welcome back and thanks for sticking around, guys. Super impressive numbers. $9,000 in a week, almost $8,000 in just 5 days, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, what's super impressive that many of these guys made their appearance in previous weeks and the weeks before that. So they had one good week after another, and so could you, as long as you have your own MC authority or you're a leased owner operator. If it's one or the other, we can work with you. Simply get in touch with us, 801-448-6363. Call or text that number or get more information on our website at aftdispatch.com. Right on the homepage. Just if you're a motor carrier, select that. If you're a leased owner op, select that. And until next week, guys, stay healthy, be wealthy. Take care.